Welcome back to SaharaTV. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. In continuation of our discussion on the anti-gay bill signed this week by President Jonathan, we have joining us from Jos, the Archbishop of Jos, Archbishop Kaigama. He's the Catholic Archbishop of Jos and the president of the Nigerian Bishops' Conference. Archbishop Kaigama, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you very much.
Let me start by asking you, so the president signed this bill into law today. This week, how do you feel about that?
We feel great, and we thank God that he has signed the bill. You remember that there was an overwhelming opposition to the legislation favoring gay marriage or gay union. I prefer to call it gay union because our understanding of marriage is nothing to do with homosexual union. So we are relieved that this bill has been signed and it agrees with everything we stand for, culturally, morally, ethically, and otherwise.
So what do you expect that will happen now to gays in Nigeria?
Well, they are still Nigerians if they are here. They are Nigerians. If they are visitors, they are welcome. But, you know, what we do not condemn is the person of the gay person. We are not condemning him. We love every human being, and we show deep understanding to those who are gay-oriented. So we do not condemn their person, but it is the act that is constituting a moral problem to us. Gay persons, if they are Nigerians or visitors, are very welcome, and we will work together for the common good, except we can not condone the issue of gay union. That's the fact.
Now, the way you said it sounded very well, but we know that in Bauchi this week, there are a lot of gay people were arrested, and there are people in the north who are threatening to sentence and convict them and sentence them to death by stoning. Is that what you envision that will happen after the signing of this bill?
That would be perhaps extrajudicial activity. I don't imagine that just simply because somebody is gay, he or she will be arrested or maltreated. I don't think that is acceptable. I think the Constitution is clear about this. The legislation is very, very clear. We are against gay union, which means that a man and a woman cannot legally be married in Nigeria.
Yeah,
so can a woman and a woman.
Well, Archbishop, the Constitution, the law also says that if you are a gay person and you are reported to be a gay person, you could go to jail for 14 years. And it says that if you support gay groups, any group that fights for gay rights, you could face 14 years. So it's not just about the marriage. And gay people in Nigeria, they've been saying, we've interviewed some of them, and they've said that they never asked for marriage.
Yeah, well, if perhaps they constitute a pressure group or something, and perhaps by their activities try to influence others to act in the same manner as themselves, maybe that is where they can get into trouble with the Nigerian law. But it is not a crime to be simply a gay person. If by biological constitution, that is who that person is, we cannot criminalize that. What we criminalize, I think, is gay activities that may even proceed to gay union.
Now, in July of last year, Pope Francis, while answering questions about gay friends and things like that, said that, who am I to judge a gay person of goodwill who seeks the Lord? he continued by saying that you cannot marginalize these people. Are we not judging them in Africa or in Nigeria, for instance, by passing a bill that will put them in jail for 14 years?
I do not think that the law is simply to punish anybody who is of gay orientation. That would be injustice. As I keep saying, it's about gay groups pressurizing or publicizing their activities in a manner that can, influence other Nigerians, or, getting into a union that constitutes a moral danger to other Nigerians. I think when Pope Francis said we should not judge gay people, he is right. We have no right to judge any human being. Only God can do the ultimate judgment. We human beings have standards. We have criteria. We have cultural values, religious and ethical values. And this we must respect. So when Nigerians say gay activities, gay union or marriage is not acceptable in Nigeria, I think it should be respected. It's not against the personality of the gay people. Not. I don't interpret the law that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people are doing that. But let me ask you, Archbishop, I don't know if you know anybody who is gay, but if there is somebody who is gay in Nigeria, what do you expect them to do? Are they supposed to go underground now? Or are they supposed to do whatever they do inside their homes and don't come out? And what happens if somebody comes and calls the police and to say these people are gay? And what will happen to them?
I am not a policeman, so I wouldn't know what will be done to them. But as a priest and by my Christian values, as I keep saying, it's not a crime to be gay by biological constitution, just like it is not a crime to be heterosexual. So if gay activities are banned in Nigeria, then the law has to be respected. I would not imagine that the police will just go on the highways searching or hunting for gay people to arrest. I think it would be unacceptable. It would be illegal to do so. But the gay people constitute themselves into a moral pressure group or engage in activities that are open and can scandalize those who would not like to be, in that situation, I think the law has to take its course. But it would be terribly unfair just because somebody is gay by personality, that he or she is arrested or harassed by anybody. It would be totally unacceptable, and we shall stand to defend such people if they are so molested.
Now, in Uganda, we have a similar situation where the parliament passed a bill against gay rights. And the president said he would not sign it because he felt that putting them in jail will not solve the problem. And I wanted to ask, what is the solution to this? For instance, if as a priest, someone comes to you during confession and say that he or she is gay, what do you say to them? How do you advise them? What do you do?
As a priest, I say, thank God you are who you are, but remain continent. That means you do not exercise that in a sexual union or any other form. Even heterosexuals are asked to remain pure, continent. Namely, because you are heterosexual doesn't mean you just go about sleeping with any man or woman. You know, so if anybody would come to me in confession and confess to being gay, I will treat him or her with great love and understanding, but admonish that he should be morally decent, morally clean in activity, stay away from anything that is going to be an anomaly and all that. This is the advice I will give. But I want to assure you that I will treat such a person with great compassion.
Now, every society is measured by the way it treats the weak and the minorities. And they've said that democracy is about safeguarding the rights of the minority. In this instance, majority of people in Nigeria obviously are in support of this law. But the minority are the ones who are going to bear the brunt. Now, my question is, if something is reversed and other people find themselves in the minority and they are being faced with this, what is called, the way they call this kind of arrangement is tyranny of the majority, will it be right to now say that because majority are in favor of this, that it must take place?
This is not about majority or minority. This is about nature, about culture, and also morality. Nature in the sense that biologically we are constituted in a certain manner. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. And I think naturally, you know that certain things are meant for certain things. And therefore, by nature, we can argue that man and woman are made to complement each other. And not man and man in the sense which homosexual people would like to marry. A woman and a woman cannot be united in marriage. Yeah. So nature has provided that a man should be married to a woman. And then culture, also our Nigerian culture, is very sensitive about this. This gay thing is all an importation of some values that violate our own cultural norms. And this is why we are violently against it. We do not allow it because our culture does not just support it. So from nature to culture and then to morality, all these three aspects do not favor gay union or gay activities.
So people mention this culture, and I was wondering, you know, there's the other argument that how much of what is African culture today is still African, that is not something that is imported. Even Christianity it didn't grow up in Africa. It was something that came from somewhere. So how do we accept Christ and accept the religion that came to us, and then we reject some of the rights that actually, if you look at in other societies, is still based on the biblical principles that they came up with these rights that people have? How do we choose the one that will favor us and the one that we don't like, we reject it?
Well, there is what we call enculturation. We don't just swallow everything that comes our way. We enculturate. Christianity, yes, came from outside, but we enculturate it into our system. We make it ours by adopting certain things and making them part of us, using our culture to enhance the Christian values and traditions that have come down to us. Therefore, there is so much we can take and use and blend with our culture. So when we talk of culture, we talk of those customs that are generally accepted by everybody and are very dear to us, and violation of such cultural norms is considered negatively. And therefore, even though we import certain Western values, we are careful to blend them in a manner that they become ours. Christianity can be said to be African in the sense that we use some African values in order to practice Christianity. So I cannot practice Christianity here in Nigeria as an American. I can't practice Christianity as an English person. I practice Christianity as an African and as a Nigerian.
Mm. Now, during Adolf Hitler's time in Germany, he was able to convince the Germans that the Jews were not good for the Germans. He said things like the Jews were anti-German, that they tried to dominate Germany, and that the Jews were born as communists, and eliminating the Jews will eliminate the biological root of communism. You know, things like that, and they call them pests and stuff like that. The question I'm asking is, how is this, the treatment of the Jews in Germany, how is it different from the propaganda that, which I'm sure that you have a different perspective, but most of the people out there, the propaganda around gays, how is it different? And are you worried that the same thing that happened to Jews might happen to gays when they are condemned, when they are being attacked, because the majority have already formed the opinion about them?
I don't think the comparison is valid. I'm not sure it's the same situation. The gay people are not being rejected or denounced as human beings. They are not being regarded as subhuman. Mm. You know, they are, as I said, loved. And I think whether Islam or Christianity, which are the two dominant religions in Nigeria, will accept the fact that a human being is a human being and has to be respected. Mm. So anybody who violates the rights of gay people and makes life intolerable for them, I think will be going beyond even the legal provision. Mm. I don't imagine to see a situation where the gay people will be treated like second class or will be treated like the Jews were treated elsewhere. I don't see that situation. Mm. I think what we worry is that the activities can adulterate the cultural values that we have and we are eager to maintain. Mm. It is not about driving out gay people or maltreating them. Mm. It's about just reordering our values. Mm. We don't want to lose our African traditional values simply because we are told from outside, from the West, from America and Europe, that gay activities are acceptable. Everybody is free to do what he or she wants. We say no, there are limits, there are values, there are ethical standards that we must respect. And as Nigerians, we would adhere to that very, very strictly.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me, before we leave this topic, the Church of England, during the debate in UK, they submitted a paper to the government opposing gay marriage. But they also were in support of laws to make sure that gay people are not discriminated against. When will the church in Nigeria go towards that direction, making sure that, just like what you are saying, protecting them, that they won't be victims in that society, rather than just passing laws to make it criminal for some of the acts they do? When will the church come out to say, we want to protect their rights so that they don't get discriminated in workplace or anywhere they are?
We regard ourselves as a church as voice of the voiceless. And as Catholic bishops, we have always spoken out against those who are marginalized or discriminated against, against those who subject the poor to terrible hardship and so on, against those who become so corrupt in government that they use the abundant resources available to enrich themselves and deny the poor noble and a life of dignified living. We are always condemning those who do wrong like that. So we wouldn't be excluding the gay people from the different groups that are discriminated against in Nigeria. Mm. We will bring their issue on board. No human being should be discriminated against. No human being should be treated like an animal. That is not acceptable. So the gay people will also receive our own support in the sense that we would not be part of any plan to destabilize them or discredit them or create problems for them. They should live normally as Nigerians. They should be happy. All we are saying is that our cultural values, cultural norms must be respected. And this is the only way to do it without succumbing to pressure from America, from Europe, urging us to accept this and accept that, perhaps for financial reward and things like that. We are saying no. We have values. We must stand by our values.
Okay. Let me go to the issue of Boko Haram. How is the situation now in northern Nigeria? I know you are in Jos. How is the situation between in that fight against Boko Haram, especially from the perspective of the churches? It appears as if we don't hear a lot of bombing of churches anymore. Do you think something is subsiding, or do you think that is still there?
Well, generally, I can say there has been an improvement in the situation. We had a wonderful Christmas all over the north, in Jos, in Maiduguri, Kano, Yobe, and all those places. Things were generally calm, but that is not to say everything is fine. It's a piece that is a piece of the graveyard. We have heard that even immediately after Christmas, there were several bombings and killings, which means that the problem is not over. There are issues to be tackled. Boko Haram is a threat. Boko Haram is systematic in its approach of murder and killing and destruction. And I think this has to be seen and an adequate response made. My worry is that they seem to triumph every other day. They come up with something dastardly and everybody's running helter-skelter. And then it subsides and everybody forgets that anything has happened. And I am so amazed that the security agents will be caught off guard, that Boko Haram can penetrate into the heart of Maiduguri and bomb even nearby places, to the airport, and even some military barracks and so on, that even now, with all the military, activities going on in Maiduguri, that Boko Haram can still sneak into the heart of Maiduguri and wreak this terrible havoc. It's something is wrong somewhere, and this is where we are concerned. I want that somebody somewhere, somebody must tell us what is wrong. Why do these people succeed? Why can they not be put off completely? There must be a problem.
Now, in Plateau State too, there is this unique problem there between the natives and the people that are called settlers, or people that come from other parts of the state. How is that problem there being resolved?
Unfortunately, we still have tension here and there, especially in the outskirts of Jos metropolis. Generally inside Jos, the problem of settler and indigenous, I think, largely has calmed down. Whether it has been adequately resolved is another issue. But certainly people are just tired of fighting. From 2001 to date, they have been fighting and killing and destroying, and I think people are just tired. It's not as if solutions have been found, but there is some peace. I call it peace of the graveyard. There is still a lot to be done. Issues are still buried. There are social, political, economic issues that should be tackled, and they have not been tackled. It's only a matter of time, again, because before they explode. So it's just papering over terrible cracks. And, it's only time that will generate, again, serious difficulties for us, because the issues are not adequately addressed, either because of lack of political will or there's a compromise in the security situation. Because right now in Jos, people are killed nearly on a weekly basis because the farmers and the cattle owners keep fighting. They accuse each other of one thing or the other. And there is this guerrilla attack that people are sleeping and a group comes and kills them and vanishes into thin air. And yet we have many security people around the place. So something is wrong. The real issues have not been touched. The problems have not been dug out. We have just been going round in circles, and that is why the problems keep coming again and again.
Now, Archbishop, do you think that this coming national conference will be an avenue to discuss some of these issues and find lasting solutions to them?
Knowing what we do in Nigeria is another opportunity to display intellectual talent, oratory, and all kinds of activities. You know, I don't see how it's going to bring anything good for all of us. How I wish it would. Because if it were really a conference, it would discuss vital issues. But I'm afraid, again, it will become another political thing. I would have loved that it would be a dialogue, not necessarily to discuss academic problems, but just to say, look, what is wrong with us? What is happening? After 100 years of unification, we are still dancing around in circles. Why is there poverty? Why is there corruption? Ingrained corruption, systemic, chronic corruption. Why is it so? Why are we so backward? Why should our youth be rebelling and getting into all kinds of criminal activities? No, these are issues that are fundamental. Imagine that our students have been out of school for over 6 months, and it doesn't worry the leadership. They claim they worry, but they don't, because it is criminal, to my mind, to allow students to stay out of school for 6 months. And they don't have the slightest compunction. So something is wrong. How I wish these would be issues to be discussed at the national conference, and not some forum to just plan future political agenda and things like that. It's not going to be as helpful as people are thinking.
Now, as we approach 2015, an election is coming up. We have some people in the PDP framing the election already as one between Jonathan and the opposition party that is a Muslim party. Being that you are in Jos, at the center, the middle belt, are you worried that if, for any reason, we degenerate into a religious divide in our polity, that it could be dangerous?
Certainly, anything that borders on religious rivalry and division will not all go well for Nigeria. We're a deeply religious nation. Religion means so much to us. But I don't think it is right to say Jonathan's party is Christian and the other opposition party is Muslim. That would be a generalization that is not acceptable, because you have so many Muslims in Jonathan's party, the PDP, and you have so many Christians in the other party. So it's not a neatly divided political party, Christians here, Muslims there. No. All we want is good politics. All we want is politicians who are ready to serve Nigerians. Nigerians have suffered enough. Their interests are not catered for. The minority that gets into power concentrate their whole energy on, helping themselves and making their lives better, while the vast majority suffers in terrible, agonizing poverty. So we want politicians. Well, whether it's opposition or leading party or whatever, let us get good men and women who will lead this country. Let us get good men and women who will relieve us from the shackles of poverty, bad leadership, corruption that has eaten everywhere and nothing works. Let us have clean water. Let's have electricity. Let's have good roads. Let our children go to school and be attended to when they go to hospital. There are issues that should concern us. But politicians are just talking about themselves, propagating ideas that only foster their selfish political interests. We have had enough of this. I'm praying that God will give us a generation of youth that will be selfless and will work selflessly for the common good of Nigerians. We need such leaders. And we hope that this is what we shall get from any political party that claims to be of service to the nation. We need something better.
Now, one last question, Archbishop. You just talked about the politics and what you expect. Are you worried that the role of the church in the political structure, we have a lot of church leaders who are very close to people in power, do they talk to them, tell them the truth? Do they talk to them the way you spoke now about what the people want? Are you concerned about that?
People in power.
Yeah, people in
People
power.
in power, they always want people who tell them what they want to hear. Even in churches now, you see our leaders make serious policy statements in churches or mosques. So that is not where serious government policy should be made. You know, meet the people in the villages, meet them where they are living in absolute poverty, address these issues, make statements there. But nowadays, in the mosque, in the churches, you find a governor, you find a president, you find a minister making serious policy statements in churches. That is not where it should be. So we really just want to have our leaders reconsider that they are not giving their best to this nation. Now we have 1 year plus to the next election. Since last year, they have been fighting bitterly. They have neglected governance. They have not been able to do what they should do. And I'm afraid that some of us religious leaders, because they get pittance from these political leaders, they are prepared to say only those good things that they want to hear. But I tell you the truth, if I have to meet the governor, if I have to meet the president, I wouldn't hide my disappointment about how the youth are being treated, about how corruption has eaten everything. I work in the village. Right now, I am in a village. For the past 4 or 5 days, I have been with villagers. I've been to places where there's no water at all. Other villages, we have to provide the school because there is no government presence. And the roads that are made cannot last. You just make a road it lasts for 6 months and it's already gone. So something is wrong. If I were to meet them, I would say exactly what I'm saying. And I hope that my fellow religious leaders will not just compromise just because they have received something of interest from these politicians and then they don't have to talk. We must talk. Even if they cannot hear us, we keep talking. We must keep backing, even if we cannot bite.
Archbishop Kaigama, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
That was Archbishop Kaigama from Jos, Nigeria, talking to us about the state of things in Nigeria, the anti-gay law, and the state of the church in northern Nigeria. Stay tuned. We are going to continue our programming today. And remember, coming up, we are going to give you the sports updates, the break, keeping it real, Dr. Damages, and many more. Stay tuned.